Now, Vukile Mhlungu is the cybercrime expert and managing director at Vukile IT Consulting. He joins us for a conversation on how to manage scammers targeting people who are claiming their tax returns this season. Vukile, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure you just heard in that intro that tax season is unfortunately also become open season for cybercrime. Just talk us through some of the popular scams.
Good evening, Vundo. Thank you for having me, and good evening to your viewers. So indeed, it is prime time, I think, for the cyber criminals. So, the current things that they're currently using is basically a phenomenon called phishing. You did speak to or mention social engineering as well. So I think the viewers and I think individuals at large just basically need to look out for suspicious emails that are coming through and basically requesting them to click. So I think the message you want to get across as cybersecurity specialists or experts is that you just need to think before you click. So these emails that are coming through asking you to populate your personal details, your personal information, and most importantly, your credentials, your user ID and password. We just need to be very conscious of giving those away. So I think that's the message I think we'd like to drive very hard, I think, for the guys to be aware of those things.
Then let's move to e-filing on public Wi-Fi or internet cafes. Is it safe? This is something that I also mentioned in the intro around unsecured networks.
100%. Yeah, so it is definitely not advisable. The free Wi-Fi that you get access to at the malls, at the airports, it is not advisable for us to be using those free and unsecure communications or connections, because this is where you find the cybersecurity is basically lurking in the background. And this way they are able to pick up our credentials, again, the user IDs and passwords, and then they can use that to access not only just your SARS profile, but also your banking and other, personal websites that you might, be having those passwords and user IDs for. So it's not advisable. Best to use, connection at home or maybe your personal connection rather than using the public connections.
When going through SARS website, I was quite impressed to see they've listed quite a number of these scams there. So it seems that now they've become more alert, but somehow they just get more advanced. You have these scammers just keeping SARS and everybody else on their toes. So what can we honestly do, particularly those first-timers who would be doing their e-filing for the first time?
100%. So I think it's a good thing that those are listed on SARS. There's actually quite an extensive list on the SARS website. It is worthwhile to go there and have a look and see some of the scams that have been coming through. I think then that will also just raise awareness for the users. So I think that's the one thing. Making sure that you visit the website. Also reporting, I think there's a link whereby you can report to SARS should there be suspicious emails coming through to you or these suspicious attempts of soliciting or getting your information. The other thing I'd like to mention as well that's also quite key and important is also maybe just looking at, so if you're getting these emails, just looking at the domain as well. Because at the end, normally you'll get the SARS that will say at sars.gov.za. So mostly when these come through, these unsolicited emails that come through for phishing purposes, normally the domain will be different. So that's just maybe something that I'd like to make our viewers aware of, just to make sure to check, is the email really coming from SARS? And then SARS will never also ask you or expect you to click on any link, basically capturing your personal details and your credentials. So those are just some of the things I think the guys basically need to look out for.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this evening.